Go on. Yes, yes, yes!
I wanted to take advantage of the last good weekend of summer, so I packed up the car with camping and fishing gear, and I made a plan to set off up north to Caerlescu from where I live in the central belt of Scotland. My original plan was to spend 2 nights up at the Caerlescu bridge, fishing with fairly heavy gear and larger hooks, in the hope of something like a spur dog or thornback ray, something along those lines. If you stick around and keep watching, you'll see that this didn't quite go to plan. I set off up the A9 with the intention of stopping off at Inverness to get some food. Okay, I've arrived at Tesco in Inverness. It's about 20 to 6. Just going to get some provisions for the onward journey, and then we will continue onward to Caerlescu, I think, unless the plan changes. After leaving Inverness, I found this little lay-by off the B9176 where I stopped for dinner, and it was here that I realised that I'd forgotten to buy any snacks, which is really one of the most important things that you need when you're going on a trip like this. So I pressed on to Bonner Bridge and stopped at a convenience store and picked up some more supplies. The light was fading really quickly at this point, so I made haste to the north side of the Caerlescu Bridge, where I was intending to stay the night. I reached the camping spot well after dark. There's always a few people here, so I tried to pull in as quietly and discreetly as possible so as not to disturb anyone. In the morning, I've made my way over the bridge to the south side and made my way down to the water. Okay, so a small boat's just come through. Gonna have to watch out for that, obviously. Let's just quickly go through the setup that we've got today. So, 2 beach casters. This one here is on some lighter mono. We'll be fishing that with small hooks. This one's just £70 braid all the way through. So, maybe on that. I think I've just got mackerel, maybe some black lug. Can't remember what I've brought. So we'll use that and see how that goes. A small lure rod here as well. Maybe we'll try that out when the tide gets a bit higher. It's about 7:30. High tide's about 10:30, I think. So let's try and get some baits in the water when this wake clears up from the boat. Okay, so another boat came through and I've just seen a massive seal right at my feet pretty much. So all signs are not pointing towards this being a fantastic mark, so who knows, maybe I'll move halfway through the day. But yeah, I'm all baited up, so I'm just going to cast out anyway and see how long it takes me to lose all my tackle. First cast, both lines failed to hit the ground.
couldn't find the bottom, tangled into each other, hit the same clump of weed, and I've given up with this spot. It's just too fast running. Boats and seals I can put up with, but that was just going to be frustration cast after cast, so I'm just going to go around the corner where it's a bit slower, probably fewer fish, but a much more pleasant place to sit and wait all day, isn't it? So
in addition to the baited beach casters, I thought I'd have a go with some different tackle. It's always been my experience that if big hooks with bait aren't catching, then often smaller ones with feathers or lures will, or vice versa.
great news, the blank's off. I've caught the world's smallest pollock, I think. Too small to tell. Let's put him back.
And it was about now that using these techniques started to pay off. Yes, what I'm catching is very, very small, but you know, some days quantity over quality, and it's really satisfying when you can just sort of look down and target individual fish with these little hooks and just watch them peck at the bait. I ended up losing the 2 strings of sabikis that I brought down with me, so I headed back up to the car to get some other small tackle that I brought. I ended up using tiny bits of mackerel on these really small drop shot hooks, and ended up catching tiny pollock, tiny coley, and a couple of long spined sea scorpions, which was the first time I'd ever caught this species. So, you know, obviously much smaller than what I was intending to catch, but I was really happy with the result.
Okay, so nothing's happening on the bait rods, but I looked over the edge and noticed there were loads of little fish, tiny pollock. So I stuck a little spinner out over the edge, and I've just caught this guy. First ever one of these. Look up exactly what he's called later. Nice. Saw him chase after the lure. Thought he was on, reeled it up, wasn't on, put it back down. He went after it again, hooked him, landed him. Amazing. Really pleased with this so far. I am getting absolutely devoured by midges though. I'll get him back. It's about 20 to 11 now. So that's just after high tide. There's still a few tiny little tiddlers about, although not the massive shoals that were obvious earlier. Caught another couple of, you know, tiny fish about the size of a finger. I'll put some pictures up if I haven't already. But I don't think there's going to be much more to be had here, so I'm going to pack up and maybe see if I can find a low tide mark somewhere. I need to have breakfast and lunch. Yeah, still a few little pollock or coley or something down there. Can see them. Don't know if that'll get picked up on the camera or not. But there's definitely something big out there. Let's get put away out of the sun. The tide is now heading out at Kailescu. So I'm on my way to, I'm going to reposition, and I'm on my way to find a nice low water mark to fish low tide, which will be at about 5 PM. So I'm going to stop and have some lunch somewhere on the way, find a lay-by or something, heat up my other soup, and yes, find a lay-by somewhere, heat up my soup, have a bit of a break from the beating sun, and then yeah, we're going to try a low water mark that I know. It's a rock mark. I think we're just going to go lures. Maybe I'll bring a mackerel with me. You can't go wrong sticking a bit of mackerel out. Yeah, and we'll do that for a few hours. And then when we reach low tide, I think I'm going to keep on travelling south and go to a high water bait mark because I brought quite a lot of bait and I would like to get some use out of it. Obviously, as I keep working south, I'm getting closer and closer to being back home, so it's a bit less of a drag to get back. Wow, this place is amazing in the daylight. I don't think I've driven through here when it's been light before. Kind of turn up when it's late and dark and then travel onwards further north, but wow, in the sun, these little craggly bits of islands, and the water's so blue, and the purple hills, amazing. Right, let's go on with it. Okay, aside from a couple of kayakers over there, don't think there's anyone about. So this is Rue Lighthouse near Ullapool. I think I've been here 4 or 5 times and I always catch something here, usually pollock. If you're going to come here, just be aware that the tide is huge, so all of these rocks would have been covered at high tide, and that one there that looks like a quite low down rock, just wait for a few hours and about double that height will be exposed. So just brought the lure rod down. I did bring a mackerel so I can tip some hooks if there's no interest in the lures. Probably won't get good until the tide makes its way a bit further out and I can get a bit further out and get to the deeper water, but yeah, see what happens. Just got some knocks on the lure, so I'm just gonna stick the camera on and hopefully I'll be able to actually catch something on camera. Probably not though. Put you down there. There's no movement in the water at all. I don't think anything's on the feed. They're like proper angling excuses. That last one, the current was too strong. Here, it's not enough. I'm just gonna have a look in some rock pools. Okay, this one's just a bit of fun. Just noticed there's loads of little pollock. I think they're pollock in this pool here. So I've just got I've got a drop shot rig with a bit of mackerel on it, and I'm hoping that I can target individual ones. Hopefully the camera will pick this up. closer. They're having a sniff, no one's going for it yet. Go on. Go on. Oh! Nearly. Didn't quite hook up. It's just a really tiny hook I've got on here. I think I just hit one with the weight. Oh, that's quite a big one. Well, relative to the other ones. Come on. Not hungry. Oh, that's a proper size one. Go on. Oh, he went for the weight. He's still going for the weight. Oh, so annoying. Yes, go on, go on. Yes, yes, yes. Stay on. Yes. Oh, it's a wrasse. Really hope that came up on the camera. I just saw him swimming around down there. And he went up to attack the weight, and he went back down into the weeds. Look at him wiggling his little fins. Let's try and get a picture of him.
So I think this is a ballan wrasse, which would make it my first ever one, having only ever caught cuckoo wrasse before. I stayed here a while longer, but there was nothing biting. After this, I started to run out of memory card space, and so there's not much footage of what happened next. I decided to work my way south, reasoning that the further south I camped, the shorter my journey tomorrow would be. I headed to Bonor Quarry on Loch Etive, but there was already a van parked there and I couldn't quite tell if there were people inside, so I decided it was best just to leave. After leaving the quarry, I headed to Oban War Memorial and had a go with a couple of hours on the bait rods, but the sea was just dead calm, there was nothing happening. I did get one knock, but nothing came of it. So after a couple of hours there, I gave up and I pressed on to camp up for the night. I stayed in a lay-by on the shores of Loch Orr, and after that I headed home. Despite not really going to plan, I did have a great time. I caught 4 species, 2 of which were new to me, and I'm never going fishing without bringing some really small tackle again. You never know what's going to come of it. Oh, and there was one more interesting thing that happened on the way home.